The Facebook Marketplace notification appeared at 11:34 p.m. on a Tuesday in January. I was sitting in my car in a 24-hour Walmart parking lot, engine running to keep warm, when my phone lit up with the alert. Someone had tagged me in a post. I opened it with numb fingers, the kind of numb that comes from sitting in 28-degree weather trying to decide if you can afford a motel room or if you need to save that $89 for food. The post was from my mother's account. Posted 47 minutes ago. Room for rent, available immediately. Beautiful 12 by 14 bedroom in quiet family home. Hardwood floors, large closet, excellent natural light. $2,000 per month plus utilities. First/last/ security required. Previous occupant chose to leave suddenly. Their loss. Serious inquiries only. Must have references and proof of income. Below the text were photos. My bedroom. Except it wasn't my bedroom anymore because all my furniture was gone. My bed, my desk, my bookshelf, the dresser Grandma Ellen had left me. All of it vanished. The room was completely empty except for the curtains. In the last photo you could see part of the driveway through the window. My car was visible, parked on the street with condensation on the windows. The post had 63 reactions and 42 comments. I scrolled through them. Beautiful space. Is it still available? Such great lighting. What's the neighborhood like? Why did the previous tenant leave? My mother had responded to that last one. Personal choice. Some people don't appreciate what they have until it's gone. My sister Vanessa had commented too. Mom, you should ask for more. That room is huge and the closet is amazing. $2,500 at least. I sat in my car watching my breath fog the windshield, and tried to figure out when exactly my life had become a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The eviction had happened 6 hours ago. I'd come home from my shift at the county records office. The job my mother called pointless paper pushing, despite it paying $52,000 a year, and found my belongings in garbage bags on the front lawn. Clothes, books, personal documents, everything just dumped outside in freezing weather. My mother had been standing in the doorway, arms crossed. You can't keep living here rent-free, Charlotte. You're 32 years old. It's time you learned responsibility. I pay you $800 a month. That's not rent-free. $800 doesn't begin to cover your share of utilities, food, and space. I've decided the room can be better used. I have potential renters coming to see it this weekend. Where am I supposed to go? That's your problem. You should have thought about that before being so ungrateful. Always criticizing, always judging. This is my house, Charlotte. My name on the deed. You have no rights here. Grandma Ellen left this house. Don't you dare bring your grandmother into this. She left the house to me with the understanding I'd care for the family. You're not family if you won't respect this household. I'd loaded my car with as much as I could fit. Clothes, laptop, important documents, and left the rest. I'd driven to Walmart because I didn't know where else to go and I needed time to think. Now it was almost midnight. My phone battery was at 23%. I had $340 in my checking account and $1,200 in savings. My next paycheck wasn't until Friday. I was about to close Facebook when I noticed something in one of the photos. On the closet door frame, barely visible, were pencil marks. My height measurements from childhood. Grandma Ellen had made those marks every year on my birthday from age 5 to 17. Mom had painted over most of them. But in the photo you could still see faint lines where the pencil had pressed deep into the wood. Something cold and sharp settled in my chest. Not anger exactly. Something quieter and more dangerous. I opened my email and searched for Ellen Sutherland Trust. Found the message from 3 years ago. The one I'd saved but never really understood. Dear Ms. Charlotte Sutherland, you are listed as primary beneficiary of the Ellen Sutherland Revocable Trust, established 2019. The trust holds property located at 847 Maple Drive, the family home, with specific conditions regarding habitation and transfer. Trust manager Victor Chin can be reached at. I'd never called Victor Chin. Mom had handled everything when Grandma died. She told me the house was hers now and that the trust was just technical paperwork. That didn't mean anything. I called Victor Chin at 11:52 p.m. I didn't expect him to answer. He answered on the third ring. This is Victor. Mr. Chin, this is Charlotte Sutherland. Ellen Sutherland's granddaughter. I'm sorry to call so late but... Charlotte. I've been expecting your call for 3 years. That stopped me. What? Your grandmother left very specific instructions. She said you'd probably wait until something went seriously wrong before reaching out. She also said your mother would likely misrepresent the trust terms. Victor's voice was calm, professional, with an edge of something that sounded like controlled anger. Tell me what happened. I told him everything. The eviction, the Facebook post, the $800 monthly payments I'd been making for 2 years, the furniture that was now gone, including the dresser Grandma had specifically left to me. What temperature is it there right now? Victor asked. 28 degrees. And your mother evicted you into that weather? Without proper notice? And is now advertising your room for rent? Yes. Silence. Then, Charlotte, I need you to listen very carefully. The house at 847 Maple Drive is held in trust with you as primary beneficiary. Your grandmother's will explicitly states that you have right of habitation in that property until age 35 or until you choose to leave voluntarily, whichever comes first. Your mother has life estate rights, meaning she can live there, but she cannot evict you, charge you rent, or transfer your room to another tenant. My hands started shaking. What? Your grandmother put these protections in place specifically because she was worried your mother would do exactly this. She told me during our last meeting that your mother had a pattern of, how did she phrase it? Financial exploitation and emotional manipulation. Ellen wanted to ensure you'd always have a safe place to live. But Mom said the house was hers, that her name was on the deed. The deed lists the trust as owner. Your mother is trustee with limited authority. She violated trust terms by evicting you, charging you unauthorized rent, and endangering your safety by forcing you out in dangerous weather conditions. What happens now? Now I document everything and file an emergency motion with probate court. Your mother will be removed as trustee. The property will transfer to you immediately under the safety violation clause. And your mother will have 30 days to vacate. The world tilted. I don't understand. Charlotte, your grandmother anticipated this exact scenario. She included a clause stating that if the trustee ever endangered your safety or violated your habitation rights, full ownership would transfer to you immediately and the trustee would lose all claims to the property. Mom will fight this. She can try. But she evicted you into freezing weather and posted evidence of it on social media. She's renting out a room she has no legal authority to rent. And I'm guessing the $800 monthly payments you mentioned? You have proof of those. Bank statements. 24 months of transfers labeled rent. That's unauthorized income from trust property. She's been stealing from you for 2 years. Victor's voice hardened. Send me everything. Photos of the Facebook post, bank statements, text messages, anything documenting what happened tonight. I'll file the emergency motion first thing tomorrow morning. What do I do right now? Are you somewhere safe and warm? I'm in my car. At Walmart. Can you afford a hotel for a few nights? Maybe. I have. Never mind. The trust has an emergency fund for exactly this situation. Your grandmother allocated $10,000 for beneficiary assistance in crisis situations. I'm authorizing an immediate transfer of $3,000 to your account. It should hit by morning. Get a hotel room. Get warm. Send me the documentation. Let me handle the legal side. I started crying. Not the quiet kind. The kind where you can't breathe and your whole body shakes. Charlotte, Victor said gently. Your grandmother loved you very much. She saw exactly who your mother was. She protected you the only way she could. Trust the protections she built. I'll call you tomorrow with updates. At 1:47 a.m., I checked into a Holiday Inn. The room cost $94. It had heating and a real bed and a door that locked. I took a shower that lasted 40 minutes and stood under the hot water until I could feel my fingers again. At 7:23 a.m., my phone showed a deposit, $3,000 from Ellen Sutherland Trust Emergency Fund. At 9:15 a.m. Victor called. I filed the emergency motion. Included photos of the Facebook post, evidence of unauthorized rent collection, documentation of eviction in dangerous weather, and proof of unauthorized disposal of trust property. The furniture your grandmother specifically left to you. What happens next? Emergency hearing is scheduled for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Judge Morrison is handling it. She's very familiar with trust law and doesn't tolerate trustee misconduct. Bring any additional documentation you have. Or something professional. Be prepared to testify about last night. At 11:06 a.m. my mother called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Charlotte, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you need to stop. Some lawyer called me about trust violations. This is ridiculous. Grandma left the house to me. Everyone knows that. You're making trouble for no reason. Call me back so we can resolve this like adults. At 11:47 a.m. Vanessa texted, Mom is freaking out. What did you do? She's talking about lawyers in court? This is so dramatic. Just apologize and come home. I didn't respond. At 3:22 p.m., my phone buzzed with a notification. Someone had reported my mother's Facebook Marketplace post. The post was taken down for violating community standards regarding housing discrimination. The revelation had been building for 2 years, but it crystallized that afternoon in the hotel room. I'd been paying my mother $800 monthly for a room in a house I legally had right to live in rent-free. For 24 months she'd collected $19,200 from me. Money I could have saved, money I could have used for my own place. I'd been eating ramen and skipping dental appointments because I thought I couldn't afford better. Meanwhile, Mom had been taking weekly spa trips and redecorating the living room. My entire adult life she told me I was financially irresponsible. Bad with money. Incapable of managing my own affairs. And I'd believed her because mothers were supposed to know these things. But Grandma Ellen had known different. She'd seen what Mom was doing. She'd built protections into the trust specifically to stop it. And she'd been right. The emergency hearing was at 2 p.m. the next day. I wore my interview suit, the one I'd bought for the county job. Victor met me outside the courtroom. Your mother has an attorney, Gerald Briggs. He's going to argue that the eviction was justified, that you were a problem tenant, and that the trust terms are ambiguous. Are they ambiguous? Not even slightly. Your grandmother worked with me for 6 months to make them ironclad. She knew your mother would fight. Mom arrived with Gerald Briggs and Vanessa. Mom's face was tight, angry. Vanessa looked confused and uncomfortable. Judge Morrison called the hearing to order at 2:14 p.m. Victor presented first. He showed the Facebook post, bank statements proving unauthorized rent collection, photos of my belongings dumped on the lawn, weather reports confirming 28-degree temperatures, and the trust document with highlighted sections about habitation rights and safety violations. Your Honor, Alan Sutherland created this trust specifically to protect her granddaughter. The terms explicitly state that Charlotte has right of habitation until age 35. The trustee violated these terms by evicting her, charging unauthorized rent, and endangering her safety. Under Section 7C, such violations trigger immediate property transfer to the beneficiary. Gerald Briggs stood. Your Honor, my client acted within her rights as homeowner. Charlotte is an adult. She was not contributing adequately to household expenses. The eviction was justified. The trust prohibits eviction, Judge Morrison said flatly. Did you review the trust documents before advising your client to evict the beneficiary? Gerald's face reddened. We believed the trust terms were advisory rather than binding. You believed wrong. Judge Morrison looked at my mother. Miss Sutherland, did you charge your daughter rent for the last 24 months? I asked her to contribute to household expenses. That's reasonable. The trust prohibits charging rent to the primary beneficiary. You collected $19,200 over 2 years. That's not contribution. That's unauthorized income from trust property. Mom's face went pale. Furthermore, Judge Morrison continued, you disposed of property specifically bequeathed to the beneficiary. The dresser mentioned in Alan Sutherland's will was left explicitly to Charlotte. Where is that dresser now? Silence. Miss Sutherland? My daughter Vanessa needed furniture. I gave it to her. You gave away trust property without authorization. That's conversion, theft. Judge Morrison looked at the documents. I'm ruling in favor of the beneficiary. The safety violation clause is triggered. Full ownership of 847 Maple Drive transfers to Charlotte Sutherland immediately. Current trustee Linda Sutherland has 30 days to vacate the property. She is also ordered to return all unauthorized rent payments, $19,200, plus the value of the converted dresser. I'm setting that at $3,500 based on the appraisal in the trust documents. Mom stood up. Your Honor, that's my home. I've lived there for 34 years. You had life estate rights conditional on respecting the beneficiary's habitation rights. You violated those terms. The consequences are outlined clearly in the trust document. You have 30 days. Judge Morrison signed the order. We're adjourned. Mom turned to me, her face twisted with rage. You're destroying this family. Your grandmother would be ashamed. Grandma Ellen created the trust specifically to stop you from doing this, I said quietly. She knew exactly who you were. Vanessa grabbed Mom's arm. Let's go. Come on. They left. Gerald Briggs followed, looking like he regretted taking the case. Victor handed me a folder. This contains the court order, property deed transfer documents, and eviction notice for your mother. The sheriff will serve her tomorrow. You can move back in after the 30-day period, or you can sell the property and use the proceeds for something else. Your choice. What about the rent money? She has to pay it within 90 days. If she doesn't, we can pursue wage garnishment or asset seizure. The dresser value too. I looked at the folder. My hands weren't shaking anymore. Thank you. Thank your grandmother. She did all the hard work. I just executed her plan. 28 days later, Mom and Vanessa moved out. They took their belongings and left the house empty except for the built-ins and appliances. They left the closet door frame intact. The pencil marks Grandma had made were still there, faded but visible. I traced them with my finger and cried for the woman who'd protected me even after she was gone. I didn't move back into the house immediately. I stayed at the Holiday Inn for another week, processing everything. Then I hired a cleaning service, bought new furniture, and moved back into a house that was finally legally mine. Mom sent one email 6 weeks later. I hope you're happy. You've destroyed everything this family stood for. I didn't respond. Vanessa called once 3 months later. Mom's struggling. She's living with Aunt Carol. She can't afford rent anywhere decent. Don't you feel bad? She collected $19,200 from me illegally. She has the money for rent. She spent it. She didn't know it was illegal. She knew I had habitation rights. She chose to ignore them. You're being cruel. I'm being protected. There's a difference. Vanessa hung up. 1 year later, I still live in the house. I painted my bedroom, the one Mom tried to rent for $2,000 monthly. I work from home 2 days a week now. I adopted a cat. I planted flowers in Grandma Ellen's garden. The house is worth approximately $380,000. I could sell it and move somewhere else. Start fresh. But I won't. Because Grandma Ellen gave me this house not just as property but as proof. Proof that I was worth protecting, worth planning for, worth loving enough to build safeguards against the people who'd spent 32 years making me feel small. I kept the Facebook Marketplace screenshots. I printed them and put them in a frame, not to display but to remember. To remember the night I sat in my car in 28-degree weather and thought I had nowhere to go. I had somewhere to go. Grandma Ellen had made sure of it. And that made all the difference.